Good morning, everybody. We are at the start of a new week, so happy Monday. And with one preseason game left and just a few more weeks until we get to regular season games, I thought it would be a good idea to take a bird's eye view of the roster and the practice squad as I see it right now. Obviously, there's only a little bit that can happen remaining that can affect this. So we can feel pretty good about most of this stuff, but I want to go over it, see where maybe people disagree, see where maybe people think it could go a different way. And I'll talk about some of the areas where I think it's at least a little bit flexible, where you could see us go a different direction. All right, so I have here the 53-man roster projection and a practice squad projection. It should be all 53 and all 16. Okay. So, quarterback, we got Geno Smith starting and Drew Lock backing him up. I think that's not changing for nothing at this point. I know that there are some Holton fans out there. Allers, I mean, he is fun. Allers is a fun guy to watch, but there are some people out there who seem to genuinely think that he should take Locke's job, and he 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 does not have an NFL arm, so I don't believe that can happen. I think he's played well enough to where he could make the practice squad and it would be okay. But honestly, there is a big part of me that still expects us to go get somebody else after cutdowns. And Holton doesn't even make the PS. He just doesn't have an NFL arm. He is a fullback with a better than average arm for a fullback. That doesn't cut it in the NFL. So, regardless, Geno Smith and Drew Lock, pretty obviously 1 and 2. Running back, we got Kenneth Walker with Zach Charbonnet backing him up, Kenny McIntosh, and DJ Dallas. Now, some people were saying, hey, DJ Dallas should lose his job to one of our other reserve running backs, namely Kobach, who did not play in this most recent preseason game, and then Sir Roderick Thompson Jr. The thing to remember is that DJ Dallas, as a veteran who has been in this league for a while and has played a non-trivial number of games in the NFL, he understands the nuance of how to play the position, and he also, and I think this is the big one, he gets run blocking. You look at this running back room right now. Walker, second-year player. Charbonnet, rookie. McIntosh, rookie. DJ Dallas is by far the most experienced player in this backfield. And of these guys, he may be our best pass protector. So I really don't think his job is in any real jeopardy. I think that Kobach and Thompson do make the practice squad if we can get them there, and we're going to be totally fine with that. But I don't think DJ Dallas can lose his roster spot to these guys. I've got Nick Bellore at fullback, of course, and then behind him we have Griffin Hebert. Apparently that's how you pronounce it. Griffin Hebert, very interesting player. Would love to see him take over for Bellore next year. Wide receiver, we got Metcalf and Lockett, we got JSN and Bobo, and we got Derek Young. Some people think that Derek Young could lose his job after the way he played yesterday, but I don't think so. It was his first game back from an injury. He has value outside of just what he does as a receiver. I mean, he has problems as a receiver, don't get me wrong, but I think that Derek Young is going to be fine in his wide receiver 4 or wide receiver 5 role, by the way. That's another thing some people were saying. Bobo should now be receiver 4 and Young should be receiver 5. Yeah, it could be, but that doesn't really matter that much because they're such different players, right? They play very differently. So I think when you use them is more situational than a matter of who's higher on the depth chart. So behind him I have Landers on the practice squad along with Lindsey and Cody Thompson. If Cody Thompson's injury is serious, then I think that bumps in Aesop Winston Jr. Tight end, Noah Fant, Will Dissly, Colby Parkinson with Mabry on the practice squad, as it's pretty much always been. Left tackle, we've got Charles Cross and Stone Forsythe. Now, Forsythe has not really looked good this preseason, so he's a guy who could absolutely lose his job completely and end up on the cut list, especially if he doesn't play decently against Green Bay. Like, we're not looking for a lot here, but we're looking for something. And maybe we end up feeling like Jalen McKenzie's actually a better player right now than Stone Forsythe, so I think there's a little bit of flexibility here. Left guard, I have Damian Lewis starting and Greg Island backing him up. I don't know if we view Island as a 53 player. Maybe we just view him as a pure practice squatter, but honestly, he got some decent reps against the Cowboys and the Vikings, and he did not stand out in a negative way. So I feel like he makes the 53 right now, but he's a guy who could theoretically go to the practice squad. Center, Brown and Oluwatimi. Right guard, Haynes and Bradford. Right tackle, Lucas and Curhan. I think those three positions on the offensive line are pretty inflexible. I don't think any of those guys are going to potentially not make the team. I don't think any of these guys are going to lose their starting job either. We just aren't seeing enough of the other guys for them to possibly make a move. So that is the offense. The only thing that I really think is up in the air is backup left tackle, backup left guard. Those guys, they might get shuffled. One of them might go, both of them might go, one of them might end up on the practice squad, both might end up on, I don't know. Seems like there is room for something to happen there. But everything else, I feel pretty comfortable about right now. So that is your full offense, roster, and practice squad. Defense, nose tackle, Jaron Reed, Cam Young, and Brian Monet. Monet may not be ready week 1, but whatever. I put him on the active roster. If he's not ready and he goes on IR to start the season, then maybe you promote somebody like we'll see. We'll take a look at the practice squad guys and we'll see. I think this is pretty much set in stone as well, unless Cam Young is also so injured he can't play the first few weeks and goes on IR. But I would expect this to be the arrangement. Defensive end, got Draymond Jones and Mario Edwards starting, Mike Morris and Miles Adams backing them up. And the practice squad defensive lineman will be Jacob Sykes. He played another pretty good game against Dallas. I think he's now done enough to where we have to at least try to get him on the practice squad. Linebacker, we got Bobby Wagner and Devin Bush starting with Jordan Brooks and hopefully back from injury soon, V. Jones as backups. I do think Brooks is going to be physically ready to play week 1. I don't know where he'll be in terms of how fast he can go, but I do think he'll be out there. And V. Jones, we'll see. We haven't really gotten a concrete update about his health, so that could go either way. John Radigan is my practice squatter. I just wasn't that impressed with what I saw from him in preseason so far, so I don't think obviously he would take the Vi Jones spot if Vi Jones is hurt. But if he's not, then I think Radigan's on the practice squad. That's really all I can say for him at this point. He's just not quite enough to make the active roster, I don't think. Although he is valuable on special teams. Edge rusher, Nwosu and Mafe starting. Darrell Taylor, Derek Hall backing him up. And Tyreek Smith, I think, has now officially earned a roster spot based on his play, not just necessity. So he's there as your 5th edge. And then you've got Levi Bell on the practice squad. I know he may not make it to the practice squad, but who are you going to let go so you can keep Levi Bell? People are saying we need to keep Levi Bell on the 53. I agree he's played really well so far this preseason, and he probably deserves a 53-man spot somewhere. But who are we letting go of to make room for him? Because the way I see it, you don't even have the opportunity to consider letting these 5 guys go, especially... I mean, the one guy you could consider is Tyreek Smith. Tyreek Smith has played every bit as well so far this preseason as Levi Bell, I think. So I think that edge rusher room is pretty much solid. But hopefully we can get Levi Bell to the practice squad. Cornerback, you've got Tariq Woolen and Mike Jackson still. I think Jackson is the starter until Witherspoon gets back. But Trey Brown's making a push. A little bit of flexibility there. Witherspoon and Brown backing him up, and then you have Artie Burns making it as kind of one of the on the fence spots. Not sure if he actually makes it, but obviously he wouldn't go to the practice squad. He's a veteran. Veterans typically don't want to go to the practice squad. They'd rather just stay at home until somebody gives them a call. I do have a couple practice squad cornerbacks, though, Lance Boykin and Chris Steele. They're 2 guys that strike me as perfect practice squatters. They're good enough to be around the NFL, but not necessarily good enough to be in the NFL quite yet. So those are my cornerbacks. Strong safety, I got Jamal Adams with Julian Love backing him up. And Sutherland is on the practice squad. Valuable special teamer. Free safety, Quandre Diggs, Jarek Reed, and Joey Blunt makes the practice squad. So the only guy who I could see maybe shaking this up on the defensive side of the ball would, of course, be injury-related guys like Monet and V. Jones. But I don't know about Artie Burns either. Artie Burns is a pretty good player. He's played pretty well so far as a Seahawk this offseason, as near as I can tell. But at the same time, he's not nearly as interesting a player as these other corners we have, and maybe we don't need a fifth corner. So Artie Burns, I think he could go one way or the other. I feel pretty good about everything else. I could maybe see us. I mean, are we going to carry 6 edge players and let Artie Burns go? Maybe. That might be what it takes to keep Levi Bell, but do you really want to do that? Like, that, it's tough, man. That's a tough one. And then we have kicker, Jason Myers, punter, Dixon, and long snapper Chris Stoll, who it's job's all his at this point, I gotta believe. Can't see anything changing here. So that is my current projection for a 53-man roster and a 16-man practice squad. 53 out of 53, 16 out of 16. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think anything can move here? I'm seeing a few things, but we're definitely running out of flexibility with this roster. I feel like Bobo solidified his spot with the way he's played. I feel like Miles Adams solidified his spot with the way he played yesterday. Not worried about Trey Brown at this point. I do think he played pretty well last night, or 2 nights ago, excuse me. So I feel like most of this is pretty solid. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Go Hawks. That is my 53-man roster projection and 16-man practice squad projection. See you guys later.